Ever heard of Operation Laser? Me neither. But don't worry, I got you covered. My name is Nico Hagen, and I'm too conservative for the conservatives. My co-host Rob Ambrose, not woke enough for the liberals. We are the political orphans. So I ask my question again. Have you ever heard of Operation Laser? I never had until now. I feel kind of bad about it because I should have known, considering what I do every day. I should have known about this. But I didn't. And it's bad when the people reporting on it is CBC. But here is what's happening. It's kind of mind-boggling to me that CBC, the propaganda arm of the federal government, is actually talking about this, but this is the reality. As you can see right there, article from CBC says how Canadian military members violated intelligence gathering rules during COVID-19. And this article is hard to believe. It is extremely hard to believe that what I'm going to read to you now comes from a CBC article, but that is the reality. That is the reality. Canadian Armed Forces member used their own personal social media accounts, computers, and networks at home during the COVID-19 pandemic and gathered information about Canadians violating intelligence gathering rules, according to a newly released report. Everything you could imagine in a military operation went wrong in this case, says security expert Wesley Wark. Multiple units were tasked with collecting information about public opinions, including the help with decision making during Operation Laser, the military's domestic response to the COVID-19 pandemic. And here is where things get extremely interesting. Senior military members viewed the pandemic as a chance to test out propaganda techniques on Canadians and head off civil disobedience by the public. While said the military at the time was excited about trying to influence how people think, this influence campaign, he said, was aimed at trying to make sure Canadians understood the threat posed by COVID-19 and to boost support for the military. It was also a way of trying to create a new doctrine of soft power to counter Russian information activities, he said. And I want to make sure you understand this. I'm reading from a CBC article, not from a spy novel, not from what people would consider far right propaganda, but we are talking about state sponsored CBC reporting on Operation Laser. This is a report, this is an article that they released today. But it gets worse because it stipulated that one of the units involved was called the Precision Information Team with the 4th Canadian Division in the Greater Toronto Area, who did have a background in intelligence. The team was tasked with scouring Twitter, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, and other websites to measure public opinion about the military's work in Canada to help with planning and decision making, said the report. The team was told to create social media accounts to monitor key regional actors, but deliberately disregarded an order and used their own personal account instead of the report. Another team under Canadian Joint Operation Command wrote more than 50 reports, including about political discourse around COVID-19, misinformation, and non-government statements about the pandemic online. The assessment report says the team was told to create social media account to monitor key regional actors. How is that okay? How is that okay that we're talking about our military was told to do this? And again, I want to remind you, this is not a far right conspiracy. We didn't write this article. This was CBC, and the article is right here. You can read it. The article is quite long, so I took the best part of it. But the truth
Hmm.
is that I found another 4 or 5 different articles speaking about this. And this is something that supposedly was known for years because, as you'll see, there's reports from right here. There's a report from the Millennium. What is it called again? Hold on, I have it right. The Post Millennium. So there's an article right here from the Post Millennial, which is another very, very leftist media that speaks about Operation Laser, something I had no clue. And in my opinion, they have some of the worse information, worse as in what makes the government and the military look even worse because the truth is that they did this without any type of oversight.
Yeah,
They just
I'm
did
reading
it.
this. Yeah, I'm reading this here.
I'm not
Apparently,
surprised.
from that CBC
And hold
article.
on. Let's take it. Like, I'm not surprised that it happened. This does not surprise me in the slightest. What surprises me is that even CBC is reporting on it. That's what blows my mind.
Yeah, yeah. And it from that CBC article, it says first reported by the Ottawa Citizen. Yeah, and if you click on that link, it was first reported back in 2021, which is interesting because I have not heard about this. But yeah, the 2021 article on September 27th says military leaders saw a pandemic as unique opportunity to test propaganda techniques on Canadians. That's unsettling. Oh, I think you're muted there, Nico. Oh, yeah, lost your mic there.
Okay,
Oh,
seems like I
yeah,
was having problems with my mic. Can you hear me now? I
yeah,
just
I got you now.
disconnected and plugged it into a different port.
Yeah, you're
Um,
good.
so if we go through here, because if you thought the CBC articles was bad, this one, in my opinion, is even worse because they literally are saying, and I'm not talking about the post millennial article here. In an information operation campaign developed by the Canadian Joint Operation Command, never received cabinet authorization. Still, military members like the CJOC head Lieutenant General Mike Rouleau didn't believe they required approval from higher authorities, according to the Gosselin report
Hmm.
commissioned to investigate this initiative. The campaign called for shaping and exploiting information to the public to head off civil disobedience and bolster government public health messaging around COVID.
Yeah, that's pretty dark shit. That's pretty dystopian.
It gets worse, man. The command saw the military response. The command saw the military's pandemic response as an opportunity to monitor and collect public information to enhance awareness for better command decision making. The CJOC staff had a palpable dismissive attitude towards concern raised by other military members. The Canadian Armed Forces also spent more than $1 million to train public affair officers on behavior modification technique used by Cambridge Analytica. I don't know if you
Oh,
guys
I
know who
remember.
that is, but
Yeah, that sounds familiar. I remember that. I remember them.
I know. So, in case you guys don't remember exactly what they did, but are familiar with the name,
That was
that's
Steve Bannon,
because
wasn't it?
I don't think so. I don't think Steve
No.
Bannon was part of it, at least not that I know of. But it
Okay.
was the reason you know the name is because of something that happened in April 2018 or March 2018, where the Facebook Cambridge Analytica data
Uh,
scandal was a major political and technology scandal that revealed that the personal data of millions of Facebook users was harvested without consent by the political consulting firm Cambridge Analytica, which caused Mark Zuckerberg to go in front of the Congress. He apologized and blah, 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 blah. No consequences whatsoever. And again, I see outrageous in the comment section. I want to make this clear. I'm not surprised by this at all. Zero. What surprises me is all the information I'm giving you guys are from mainstream media. This is what really blows my mind, that this, up to now, the information I gave you was from CBC and the Post Millennial. Like, as left propagandist as it can be. Yet they're the ones reporting on this. And here's another one for you. Acting Chief of the Defense Staff General Wayne Erie and Deputy Minister Jody Thomas acknowledged internal military propaganda initiative got out of control, they said. Errors conducting during domestic operations and training eroded public confidence in the institution. Really? Yeah. Oh, really? Spying on people eroded our confidence in you. Really? Oh, wow. That's great. But listen to this one. The Canadian forces had to launch an investigation after September 2020 incident when military information operations staff forged a letter from the Nova Scotia government warning about wolves on the loose in a particular region of the province. The letter was inadvertently distributed to residents, prompting panic calls to the Nova Scotia officials who were unaware of the military was behind the deception. The investigation determined the reservists conducting the operation lacked formal training and policies governing the use of propaganda techniques were not well understood by the soldiers. Again, post-millennials and CBC are reporting on this. They got caught using propaganda. They forged a Nova Scotia government letter
about wolves
that was somehow distributed that freaked out people. And this is just business as usual. Sorry, we got caught. I apologize that we got caught.
There's no reason, like the wolves thing is crazy because like there's no reason why they would do that except to like it's just purely to see, okay, what will people fall for, right? Like you know that they invented a story that was so crazy there's no way that it could be true, and then they put it out there, and that way, you know, if you see other people talking about wolves in Nova Scotia online. Now you know that, oh, shit, this is effective. We're actually convincing people.
We did this. Yep.
Yeah, that's some dystopian shit.
But here's the question everybody should be asking themselves right now. Has anyone been held accountable for this? Reprimanded, fired, arrested, or jailed? And the answer is a massive flat no. No one has been officially reprimanded, fired, or arrested. Basically, our military spied on us, used propaganda techniques to shape government narratives, and got away scot-free. That's the reality. And what this means for Canadians, because in my opinion, it gets worse. There's another portion that is mentioned in the CBC article. Then Chief of Defense Staff General Jonathan Vance verbally shut down the influence campaign. Influence campaign. Oh, I love that word. Propaganda campaign in April 2020. But some activities carried out for another 6 months until Vance issued a written edict. Senior defense leadership launched a series of internal investigations and conceded, my apologies, the forces went too far and eroded public confidence. And in the same CBC article that I first showed you, security expert Wesley Wark said, while he can't imagine something so gross could happen again, there's a risk because the government still hasn't acted on the recommendations made by the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians in 2020. This operate, and I quote here, this operation took place in a kind of legal vacuum, and whenever lessons has been learned to legal vacuums still fundamentally exists.
Hmm.
So nothing has changed. Nobody was fired. And just to put it into under, like, I just want to put it into perspective for the people out there that don't remember this, because we're talking about 6 years ago. But literally today we learned that during COVID, not only did our government lock us down, coerced us into taking a vaccine to keep our jobs, freeze the bank accounts of peaceful protesters, illegally use the Emergencies Act, but our military violated intelligent gathering rules by spying and testing propaganda technique on Canadians, Operation Laser. All of that without consequences whatsoever. Our government was caught on multiple occasions abusing their powers and got away with it scot-free. And this is the same government who just passed Bill C9, criminalizing emotions, and Surveillance Bill C12, while trying to pass other surveillance and censorship bills, C8, C16, C22. What more is it going to take for the hardworking Canadians to say enough? That's the question I always ask. Every time I speak about this shit, what else is it going to
Oh,
take for people, just the average individuals to say,
it's
yeah,
not
no.
even it's not even this isn't even breaking through. The latest polls have Carney up I think 3 or 4 seats, and the Conservatives down 10 seats. Carney's getting more popular, which is pretty wild. I don't understand.
Not sure I believe those polls though. Let's be honest here. I do
Nah,
not.
yeah, maybe not, but I believe it. Just but anecdotally, most normies who are not, super engaged in politics that I talk to, they seem to think he's doing a great job.
And that I believe it. I absolutely believe it. And the worst part when it comes to this, well, not the worst part, because again, this is something that we talk about all the time, especially me, but have you heard anybody talk about this on the conservative side? Have you heard anybody
No,
complaining about this on the conservative side?
and that's where the criticism comes in, right? Like, yeah, you probably can't blame the Conservatives per se for what Carney's doing, but you can blame them for not talking about this shit. People like you said, we only heard about this today because of this article that came out today, but this was first broken 4 years ago, 5 years ago. They should be talking about this shit.
And it blows my mind that I did not know about this, because the first articles were in 2020, 2021. Like, this story broke in 2020. In the CBC article, they mentioned that it took 4 years for them to get an answer to their freedom. What is it again? I always forget how they call it. Freedom, access to freedom request, freedom access to information requests. I can never remember how they're actually called.
Freedom of information, FOAI.
Freedom of information request. Yes, it took 4 years for them to get an answer to this. 4 years.
Yeah. That's it's crazy. And then and then the Conservatives aren't talking about it. I mean, like, Poilievre is not really talking about anything. Like, if you listen to him talk, he sounds just like it. Things are going normal. He'll get up in question period in Parliament, and he'll say all the things that opposition leaders always say. But you certainly don't get the sense from him that there's something unusual about this time, or there's something really wrong with the system here.
Yeah, it's business as usual. And again,
it feels like that.
As much as we don't hear the criticism from the right, the opposition members, we're also not seeing the criticism from regular Canadians that believe in the Conservative Party. Like, I follow all of them. I follow people on the left. I follow people on the right. I follow people in the middle. I follow a lot of people that have information, no matter if I agree with it or not, just to kind of get the pulse of what people are saying, because all of them have big accounts. So I want to know what they're saying and what people are responding. And it blows my mind that I'm seeing less and less difference between the left and the right in their actions, in the way that they will believe their leaders. The same way people follow Carney, no matter the mistakes that he makes, they're gonna follow Polyev for what he's not doing. Because you know what? It's better than Carney, but is it?
Well,
Is
that's
it really? It's like, look at the US. I don't know if you saw that, but I was watching a video of Tucker Carlson earlier ripping into Donald Trump
oh yeah,
about
it's weird.
uh,
Iran, right?
about it wasn't even, well, it was about Iran, but it was about the message that he dropped on Sunday, on Easter Sunday, where he's saying he's gonna fuck them up, that he could fucking kill everybody over there. I
Open the
don't I
fucking
don't have the
straight.
tweet in
Open the
front of me.
fucking straight. And then he said,
Yeah, exact.
"Praise be to
Or
Allah."
yeah, and Tucker Carlson had a point. Love or hate Tucker Carlson, this is not Christian. What Donald Trump said there is not Christian at all. And
No.
how do and so even the Christians in the US, and I know a lot of them, are still following a guy like Trump because they just want him more than what the left is doing. And that is always going to blow my mind. There's no, there's a guy, one of the first podcasts I ever recorded, like 2000 podcasts ago, 5-6 years ago. He was a microbiologist out of the University of Montreal. We're having a conversation and he's an atheist. We talked about religion. And at one point he looked at me, he said, man, there's no such thing as a great man, just great ideas. As in, big enough, you're going to find skeleton in everybody's closet. So stop idolizing people and just agree or disagree with their thoughts, not the individual himself.
Yeah.
I thought his comment was absolutely brilliant because it's true. Name me one person that you can really look at and say, oh yeah, that's a great man. I know one, but he was God. So that doesn't really count. He's not a man. I asked men, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's obviously I think that's the right approach is judge someone by their ideas and not necessarily them, because even people like MLK Jr., who are like sort of famous for being great men, he had like a bunch of affairs, he was cheating on his wife a bunch, he was a womanizer. John F. Kennedy, right, like a great man by most standards, and obviously also a huge womanizer. Yeah, everyone's got skeletons in their closet. But yeah, I think to what you're saying about Polyev, I mean, yeah, that's the thing with leadership, right? Is people look to their leaders and they're not just looking for their words, they're looking at their body language, they're looking at their vibe, their energy. And if their leader is in question period every day, just acting like it's, business as usual, nothing going on out of the ordinary, asking whatever the questions are of Carney, but not really, you don't get a sense that there's anything really going on. They're going to think that there's, it's business as usual. That's why. That's why you get, even among the right, you don't have this sense that there's something really wrong here.
For the people out there that are listening, what type of conversation? Because it was Easter weekend, most people saw families. They went to spend time with their families. At least that's my understanding. That's what normal people do. I'm not super normal, but so I assume that that's what people do. They go spend time with their families. And are those the type of conversations that are avoided at all costs? Or those conversations that you have with the people in your family when you're sitting at the dinner table, having a drink, whatever? Do you actually try to get a pulse of the situation, the people around you, what they think, and if they have questions? Or is that still that's not possible? We can't go there. It's one of those things, you're not supposed to speak about politics, money, and religion. Yet everybody has an opinion on politics, money, and religion.
Which is probably why you don't speak about it. I mean, it certainly depends on the family. I know in mine, we generally don't. Just because it's just a way to keep the peace, right? We've got a pretty wide spectrum. I've got brothers that are more conservative, sisters that are more liberal. So I think most people in my family, we
What? Women that are more liberal than men?
yeah,
What?
exactly. So there's kind of
No.
an unspoken détente, there's an unspoken ceasefire, I guess you could say. Because if one of us starts to go on, then the other is going to start to go on, and it just for the sake of family unity, I think everyone just kind of leaves it be. But every family's different, right? There are definitely people who love that shit, who want to have the political fights and stuff, even on their family and stuff. Why? What do you guys do? You guys talk politics at your family, like at the dinner table?
Well, in all truthfulness, my biological dad's dead. My stepdad's dead. I don't see my biological family whatsoever at all, at all, at all. Like my son's 9 months old. My mom hasn't met him yet. Not because we didn't invite her. She just haven't come. She hasn't come yet, and I haven't seen my sister or talked to her in 2, 3 years, 3 years, 4 years. I don't even know how long it's been. It's been years.
Really? Eh?
So, oh yeah, we've had massive, massive disagreement, and I'm a smartass, right? The problem with a guy like me is I don't back down. You want to don't get in an argument you don't want to lose. That's it.
Yeah.
If you don't, I'm not going to be there trying to push the conversation. But if you start on it, expect me to fire back and get involved. Just don't bring it up. If you don't want to talk about something, that's fine. But don't fucking bring it up and then cry about the consequences of your actions, because chances are I know a lot more than you do, and my opinions are not based on emotions, they're based on facts. But no, my personality does not vibe very well with my extremely liberal sister and mother.
Oh yeah. Is
And
that
they're
is that
both government workers.
is that why you guys don't see eye to eye mostly politics?
Oh, bro, I kind of alluded to that, but I don't think I had to allude to that for people to understand that I'm kind of an
Yeah.
ass. But I done a lot of bad stuff when I was young, like between 13, 14 and like 2022. I don't remember the exact, it's been over 20 years. So, but around those times, I did a lot of drugs. I stole a lot of shit. I've done a lot of really dumb shit, and I did steal from my family. Like, I have no shame in saying it. And my sisters never forgave me. My mother, both
Really?
my sister and my mother still sees me as that 18-year-old high school dropout. And obviously my opinions are extremely, extremely different. But I gotta tell you, man, I think what really put a nail in the coffin was COVID. COVID, like many
Did that for a
families
lot of
out there.
families. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if I had to pick a single event that probably broke the camel's back, as they say, it definitely would be COVID. COVID kind of definitely killed it, and it has never recovered from
Really?
there. I
Hmm.
Yeah, I don't know that it's possible to. I don't know how
Well,
you recover from this. I don't know.
I mean,
As a Christian, I gotta tell you, I will still try to get my mom to meet my son.
yeah,
I
yeah,
will
yeah,
still do my best. That door is still open. It's not closed. Right?
yeah.
But, how far do you go?
Well, you can only go
So,
so far, right? The way I look at it, as long as you make the offer there, as long as they know you leave the door open, it's all you can do,
mhm,
right?
my point exactly. So I see that our guest has joined us. So
Oh, we got Sylvain.
let
Nice.
me speak about our sponsor, Miss Cleo's Pet Treats. 100% natural, healthy dog treats, free from preservative, additive, and fillers, made by hand right here in Canada. Not only are they made by hand, but the meat is locally sourced from farms in Manitoba. So none of that Chinese meat for your dog, because your dog deserves better. So go to Cleo's Cookies in treats.ca and use the discount code political orphans and get 20% off your entire order. Just look in the description below. The link The discount code are there. On that note, we are joined by Dr. Sylvain Charlebois, aka the food professor, to speak about a post that he made last week, 2 weeks ago, last week, saying that after 25 years and over 1,000 columns, he's been let go by La Presse for comments that he made. So I'm very interested in knowing what those comments are. Mr. Sylvain Charlebois, bonjour.
Good day, sir. Great to have you back as always.
Great to have you back. Well, thank you for having me again. I think it's the third or fourth time
20th time. Your microphone's not working properly, by the way.
It's not.
You sound extremely far. I think you're on your speakerphone, not your professional microphone, because you normally have a good mic.
Yeah, here we go. How's
Yeah,
that?
that's better.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's a lot better.
So you got canceled.
Hold on. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's just so we have to go back a month. About a month ago in February, I actually posted a message on Facebook and X expressing my concerns about media coverage. And you guys talk about it a lot on your show, how media can be extremely biased towards the narrative presented by the current government in place. And like I said, I've actually been working with the media for 25 years. I have really a wonderful experience with media, still do to this day. But I have seen a shift in the last 3-4 years, really. And I did mention that, the tax credit program that we offer to media to support them, to finance them, may be part of the reason. I mean, let's face it, the tax credit program that we offer. So just for people who may not know, I assume that you guys explain that to your audience, but essentially, if you employ journalists, 70% of that salary is actually tax deductible as an employer. And so that represents a lot of money for employers. And so, of course, there's other tax credit programs for non-for-profits, and La Presse and Le Devoir are non-for-profit organizations. So they get even more money from both the province and the federal government. So, and just to be clear here, and I think we disagree on this one, but that's okay. I don't really see a problem seeing the state supporting media as long as it's not a partisan issue. The problem, it's a partisan issue because we know that the Conservatives, if they actually end up in power, they would eliminate the program. And so that's their decision. It's in their platform, and that's fine. But a journalist who knows that would be extremely careful, and it shows. So I just wrote a piece about this on X and Facebook. Not in a column or anything like that, just as a concerned citizen, really. And so a month went by, and last week I got a phone call, actually on my birthday, and it was François Cardinal, the vice president editorial of La Presse, and someone who I respect. I mean, I do think highly of La Presse, still do. But he did mention that he had some issues with the message, and he was not comfortable pursuing our collaboration of 25 years, and we kind of agreed to put it on pause. Personally, I think it was over. I don't think that he wanted to restart the collaboration in a month or two from now. I think they just didn't like the message. What's really strange is that I'm still doing interviews with CTV Global and other outlets. So that's basically why it was not my decision. It was their decision. And I respected that. And that's it. And so I posted, so on Thursday, my column actually appears on Thursdays, and I was actually on a flight back from Calgary to Montreal, and I started to get messages from people. Where's your column today? Where's your column? And so after 4 or 5 messages, I thought, well, maybe I should post something on X saying to people, it's over. And so I did. I wrote a piece. I was actually, like I said, I was actually in the air wrote it. And by the time I actually landed in Montreal, like I had literally hundreds of messages of support. Like it was just unbelievable on Facebook, Instagram, X, emails. It was just I was just overwhelmed. And my twin brother actually posted something expressing his concerns about democracy and freedom of expression and things like that. Because it really, I mean, do I think it's censorship? I don't know if it's censorship, but it really felt like it, really. So that's basically what happened last week. I'm saddened by the whole affair, to be honest, but it is what it is. I moved on. I have a great relationship with Post Media still. I'm still writing columns for them. And I'm still writing columns for other outlets as well. In French, though, I'm what I would call a free agent.
It's, the part that I find the most interesting about this is that you're a liberal. You are not what we would consider a conservative individual.
Oh,
you are not.
For you, I'm liberal. On campus, I'm far right.
Far right, yeah.
But that's kind of my...
Nico, and I've been listening to you. I mean, it's a matter of perspective. Politics are a matter of perspective.
Absolutely.
But the point I'm trying to make is that imagine how safe it is for guys like me if guys like you are under attack by a nonprofit organization that you've worked with for 25 years and wrote over 1,000 columns.
I forgot to mention.
That's insane.
I forgot to mention because to me it's a trivial issue, but it seems to have become this big deal. I wrote these columns, over 1,000 columns, for free. It was volunteer work. I didn't get a cent from La Presse for 25 years. I did it, and you may think I'm stupid, but the reason why I did it is that I just felt it was part of my job. I actually do get a salary from taxpayers at the university. Yes, and I feel it was important for me to continue to communicate the work that we do with the public through La Presse. So it came out as a surprise for a lot of people. People had no idea I was not paid. And I have no idea what's going on with other columnists. But as a collaborator, I was not paid.
I can tell you I can disagree with you all I want. If there's one thing I know is that you're not stupid. I might disagree with you on quite a bit of stuff, but I would never consider you to be a stupid person. But I understand why you did it, because if I was able to write for a newspaper, an outlet that I actually have respect for, and it would allow me to put my words out there more than the reach that I get currently. Even if I wasn't paid, I'd still do it. I fully understand why you did it. I fully understand.
Yeah, no, and when I went to Québécois, Journal de Montréal, for about 6 months, I think it was 8 years ago, they offered me to collaborate with them, and I did. And I was actually paid, but my wife and I just gave that money to Food Banks Quebec. Because we don't really, again, I just feel it's part of my job. It's part of my work. Like the podcast I'm doing with you guys, I'm not paid. I don't do any paid work with media at all because I just feel it's kind of my job as an academic.
And there we thought you liked us. Yeah, awesome.
We thought
you see, it's 7:30 at night. I'm with you guys, and you'd have to pay me to be with you. So yes. I love you guys. Come on.
Yes. That's why you're here. That's why. Yeah, right back at you. Exactly. So that's kind of a slap in the face. Then they're not even paying you, and they still let you go. Jesus, it's tough out there.
Well, listen. I honestly, I would say, I mean, on Thursday, what was really weird, to be honest, is that on Thursday I make the announcement. And halfway through the day, I get an email from La Presse, from François Cardinal. And he said, well, thank you for the call to the nation. And I said to François, what did you expect? I've been writing for you guys for 25 years. People were wondering what was going on. I had to say something. So I don't think they were overly pleased, but again, I fully respect their decision. It's okay. Like we're all going to survive here. I just feel like, to your point, Nico, is that right now there seems to be this push to eliminate some voices, political leaning voices, and I'm for you guys, I may be on the left or center right, but to be honest, out there in the media, I am seen as a staunch conservative. I'm not a staunch conservative,
That's
but I am
fascinating.
seen as a staunch conservative.
That is fast. I mean, me too, right? But I consider myself a liberal. I've got many liberal consensus positions, and there's some that I vocally disagree with, and because of that, I'm a far right Nazi to anyone on the left. Most people on this show, which is obviously a right-leaning show, will probably perceive me as at least left of center. But out there, to other people on the left, I'm a heretic. I'm heretical. They, if you don't agree with every single thing, you're out of the group. You're out of the tribe.
The cancel culture is quite real, and that culture is being institutionalized.
Absolutely.
And so that really is the travesty of it all, because that's basically what happened here. Institutionalized cancel culture, really. And I just didn't fit in. They disagreed with my point of view, which was not even an official op-ed. Like, if I would have actually been let go because I wrote something inaccurate in my columns or something related to my research, and I call someone an awful name, like I went into name calling or something like that during an interview with media or something like that, maybe I would have understood. But because I criticized a program by the government that could potentially make some newsrooms out there biased, which is something a lot of people think, by the way. I'm not the only one who thinks that. And I know that a lot of people actually do feel that this is an issue that we need to resolve. The CRTC has not resolved this issue. All we did was Trudeau actually just slapped a Band-Aid on the problem. And I do think we need to help media, but we need to do it the right way. Right now, it's just, I honestly, and you're going to be completely discouraged for Nico, but because of the media coverage we see, I don't see how Prime Minister Carney or the Liberals will ever be defeated anytime soon. I don't see it.
Well,
even if I agreed that let's say that election still matters, that prime ministers are not selected, they're elected. You're absolutely right. I don't believe in that, but I'm just saying, if you have places like the CBC that are propaganda arm for the government, they do not talk ill of Carney.
No,
they might do it every now and then, like 1% of the time, when it's just too obvious. You don't have a choice to call them out.
The way they do it will be different, very different.
But the thing is, I just want to go back to something that you said before you make your point. Is my biggest problem with this is that it ain't fair. I don't get support from the government because they don't agree with me. If they agreed with my positions, I would be able to get money from the government. Place like Cult Montreal, that is a supposedly nonprofit organization out of Montreal, massively on the left. They receive money from the government, and they're just regular people that started this. No different than the nonprofit I just started. Yet you'll never see me get grants or money from the government because I don't follow their political line. And that's the truth. Even if I don't like Rebel News, if I don't necessarily, I just don't care for Rebel News. I don't care for Juno. Do they get as much funding as CBC would? You know that they don't. This is the thing, right? If you want to be equal, because that's taxpayers' money, and that's the problem. That's why if you're not going to be equal, cut it off completely. If you cannot give the money to the people that are supposed to get it, no matter what their political views are, don't give it at all, because that's taxpayers' money. That money is as much mine as it is yours.
I'll ask you a simple question. How do you measure equality? How do you measure balance?
How do you measure equality? Same program for everyone. If you're saying that, let's say I just started a nonprofit.
As many times as Carney? Is that how it works? Do you see what I'm getting?
No, I'm talking funding.
Here's what I think.
That sounds like an argument to stop the program completely.
But here's my argument about state media, and I do see a big difference between state media and private media. Many countries have state media. Australia has ABC. Britain has BBC,
BBC, yeah.
and they're all biased. They're all
All-
biased.
all of
CBC has been biased forever, ever. It's state media, and to be honest, it is what it is. Where I think things have gotten really wrong, and because people were looking for balance news coverage, is that right now everyone has turned into some sort of mini CBC. That's the problem we have right now. And so when it comes to politics specifically, and because of I believe that the tax credit program is influencing editorial decisions.
Of course.
That's
But
my
the
main
whole
concern.
point.
I would not defund Radio-Canada. I'm a francophone outside Quebec. I actually care about my kids watching French TV. It may not be good TV, but it's French. That's fine. And I wouldn't defund CBC because I actually do think that there are some shows that are good at CBC. And I know you disagree. That's okay. But I do think that CBC should not be defunded. That's state TV. It's very different.
But
So-
there's a difference between being defunded and being ran at 75 to 80% of their budgets. It's taxpayers' money. 1.4 to 1.6 billion dollars a year is given to CBC. This is insane. If you cannot cut it in today's world, you deserve to go extinct. I don't have those.
And that's a
I
perspective.
don't have that money. But
And I
that's
respect that.
It,
I respect
But the
that.
point
I
is that-
I do understand why you think that way. And frankly, it makes sense. It makes sense.
But there's no such thing as equality, right? Things will never be equal, but things
But
should
for
be
someone
fair.
who expects the CBC to be balanced is
That's not going to
unrealistic.
happen. That's not going to happen.
It's never going to happen.
But this is not what
Like
I'm debating.
I'll
I'm not
never
debating that.
expect the CBC to do a documentary on Stephen Harper or Brian Mulroney ever.
But the thing is that it's not the fact that they're leftists that bothers me. That part doesn't bother me. We all have biases. Every single one of us have some type of bias. But why is it that I have a nonprofit? I'm going to start a media portion of that nonprofit. Why is it that I can't get government funded the same way as a leftist nonprofit? And I'm not political as per that nonprofit. The whole point of the show is that we're political orphans. No party represents my values in Canada. Zero. I disagree with all of them. I don't agree with them. I disagree with all of them. That's the whole point. So why is it that somebody on the left can get grants, can get money? I can't. And the point is it's very simple, because they don't like what I talk about, because I cannot be controlled the way that they controlled CBC, in the same way that all media that's state funded now that receives money from the government is a subset of CBC, just like you said. Like you look at the National Post, which is considered right, but you start digging, they get money from the government. And we had one of those columnists on the show, and people in the comment section were just ripping into him for that, because he was calling the hypocrisy, but people are like, yeah, you do know that your salary is, as you mentioned, probably 70% paid by the government. So it does not matter where you look, but there are subjects that you cannot touch. And even
I have a solution for you.
What's that?
Go for it.
Pretty simple. Because right now, the programs rewards editorial, rewards the supply side of news economics, basically. So we give money to employers. Peter Menzies, I'm not sure if you know who Peter Menzies is. He's a pretty darn well-known person in media. He's retired now, so he speaks his mind. He used to be editor of the Calgary Herald. On the weekend, he called me because he saw my story and he got it. Like, he totally understood what happened. And he came up with a solution that I think makes total sense. Instead of giving tax credits to employers, why not give tax credit to consumers, to taxpayers directly? So, for example, you, Nico, you decide to to subscribe to whatever newspaper you like. Tax credit up to $1,000. You give power to the people to decide where to throw their money, and you reward them instead of rewarding
that
the
newspaper.
System,
that newspaper
you're rewarding
will get
the consumer.
That, like, the newspaper that you subscribe to will get the tax credit.
No, you
Or Nico will
tax
get the
credit
tax.
as
Oh,
a
okay.
consumer.
Interesting.
It's like
Which will-
Harper many years ago. You remember Harper during his reign, he actually decided to give everyone up to $500 in tax credit to go to the gym.
Yes,
remember
I remember
that?
that? To get your kids
Okay.
into sports or something
Same
like that.
idea. Same
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
So we give you $1,000 to spend on media, but you get to pick who to support.
That's interesting.
And
So if
that's
I
not taxpayers' money per se.
So
It's
if I
tax
actually,
credit
if
as
I
in.
want to watch and
Yeah.
subscribe to Political Orphans,
It's your own
I
money.
throw my money to Political Orphans.
Interesting.
And
Very
you get it back in tax credits. Yeah, you know what? I'd have to sit down and actually look at how that would work, but that's an idea I've never heard before. I don't know that I agree with it without doing research, but all to say I've never heard that one before. That's an interesting way to put it because again,
not my
it's
area
not.
of expertise, but it made a whole lot of sense from a guy who actually knows what he's saying.
It basically makes all of media a nonprofit or even a charity, if you will. But because a
Makes
nonprofit,
media accountable.
Yeah.
It changes the game because it makes media work for his attendance and audience. Right
Well,
now,
it
it's actually
incentivizes.
it's empowered to push a narrative.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Whereas this way, it incentivizes media properties to actually report on things that will attract consumers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have a big
100%.
problem, and I think that this program needs to be sidelined as quickly as possible because I do see some damages to our democracy. But right now, I mean, why would you ever, if you're in the government, if you're a liberal, why would you ever change any of that? Like seriously,
Well, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
The other solution is to actually get the conservatives to put on their platform to keep the program. And once elected, you yank it.
So you do like they do and lie. Yeah, that's pretty much what politicians do. Here's a great comment though, and a great comment because I agree. But how about Crown Corporation pay their own bills? If CBC can't attract ad revenue, change your content. And to me, that just makes sense. If nobody wants to put your content, their ad on your content on your platform, why would you survive?
Well,
that
they
means
do
your
actually
consumer's not
attract ad.
interested.
They do
25%.
Yeah, they do attract ad. They do actually generate revenues, but nowhere
Not
near
nearly
the
enough,
cost
yeah.
to operate the whole thing.
25%. 25% or so is ad revenue. 75% of their budget is taxpayers' money. Like I was saying earlier, I just didn't mention that the 25% was ad revenue. But we only have you for a few other minutes. But I wanted to go back to your expertise here because I was talking about this last week. We're talking about the gas prices and how it's actually impacting our extremely high food prices right now.
Yep.
And there's two stories that I'd like you to just give your opinion. First, there was a farmer in Ontario, and I forgot his name, but he was saying that if gas prices remain high, and by gas prices, he also mean diesel, what he uses to operate his farm, that price could go up, food prices could go up 25 to 50% by September. Is there any truth to that at all?
I'm not sure where he was getting at because fertilizers impact input costs for farmers, and farmers are price takers. They don't set prices. So I don't necessarily understand the rationale. Maybe he was quoted in answering the following question. Will gas prices or diesel prices impact food prices? Well, the answer is yes, but it's not because of higher costs for the farmer. So I just want to make it clear here. The farmer is a price taker. So if it costs more for him to produce, he doesn't necessarily get more. So it won't affect us. The problem with the food supply is that the food distribution chain is incredibly energy intensive. And so it doesn't matter what happened to the farmer or fertilizers. It will end up costing more to haul everything, especially cold chain products like meat, dairy, produce, and frozen goods. And so think about it this way. Every 25% more in the barrel of oil over 3 months, that's $150 to $200 more for a family of four at the grocery store. So the benchmark is $55 on January 7th. And now, I mean, today we actually reached 114. Now it's down because Trump decided to wait 2 weeks now. So the oil is way down, but every 25%, that's an extra, basically $200 for you and I to feed your family. Yeah, because trucks, everything, and our surcharges right now. The problem we have right now is a White House forcing oil prices to go up and down, up and down, up and down. Well, if you're a trucking company, what are you going to do? You're going to highball the price of energy and charge as much as possible. So it doesn't matter. Like tonight, actually, oil is down to 90. Doesn't matter. They're going to highball the price and charge you as much as possible.
Yeah, oil's crashed a lot over the last hour and a half. I think they got a deal in Iran
For 2 weeks, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was over $2 here. It crossed the $2 in north of Montreal. So absolutely insane.
So even like
140.
So oil crashed 20%. It doesn't matter. We're still going to pay more for diesel and gas, and that's the unfortunate thing.
Yes.
The other thing I wanted to ask you, we have a couple minutes left. I saw a mention of Toronto, the mayor of Toronto, starting the first government-run grocery store. I saw that you reposted an article about that, and the article was criticizing that that's not the way forward. But what do you think about government-run grocery stores?
Do it for the right reasons. You know, penalizing the oligarchs and go after the private sector or trying to replace the private sector is not a good reason. And that's what I'm hearing right now from the NDP. A.V. Lewis said the same thing. He wants to start 50 stores run by your taxpayers, my taxes, your taxes across the country, 50 stores. He said that. Why? Because Galen Weston makes too much money. That's not a good reason. Yeah. Running a grocery store is complicated and very costly. Unless Canadians want to overly subsidize a grocery chain, which I don't think is the case.
If that's the whole point, is to lower grocery prices, there's no point if you're losing a shit ton of money running the grocery stores, right? Because they're just going to make that up somewhere else.
Exactement. Exactly. So
when's the last time you saw governments? You know, when's the last time you saw government run anything well? You don't even need to be, to me, I look at this, I'm a conspiracy theorist. So I look at this, I'm like, yeah, the government wants to be able to control what they put on the shelf. Is going to be COVID again, where we're going to lock certain things because, oh, we don't want you to eat that right now. You don't even need to go there. You can remove the conspiracy theory from this and just say, when's the last time you saw the government do anything better than the private sector could do?
So
never happens.
My conservative hat says this is a stupid idea. But when I put on my liberal hat, I say, well, what about the North? Northern Canada, we still see watermelons at $20. We still see cucumbers at $13. Why not start a national grocery store up there? The other good reason, food deserts in downtowns all over the place. Grocers, the private sector is not interested in opening up stores right now in downtowns because there's too much crime, too much drugs, too much homelessness. We all know that. Theft is a problem.
They could
so
just
perhaps the city or Ottawa could play a role for food deserts. So food deserts, the North. Anything else, bad reason.
How about we stop eating food that doesn't come from here? There was, I can't remember the name of the guy, but there was a guy that came out with the theory that you should only eat what is within 50 kilometers of you. If it's not
the 100-mile diet.
Yeah, if your products don't come from close to you, you shouldn't be eating it. And as Rob was about to say, food deserts, because of crime, shouldn't be dealt with by the same people that let the crime happen and keep on not punishing criminals.
Crack down on the crime. Crack down on the crime, right? But they can't do that. That's not an option.
What a crazy idea.
No, that's not.
I remember reading the 100-mile diet book while I was in Saskatchewan, Regina, Saskatchewan. And I was looking around and I said, okay, so let's eat wheat and beef. That's it.
Basically.
I'm
Fair
okay with it.
enough.
That's
Yeah,
basically what I
yeah.
eat, man.
Yeah.
That's basically my diet. I eat a lot of meat, a lot of bread. There you go. Tough diet. Tough diet. I
Tough to be
love
in
it.
St. John's, Newfoundland, though. You basically
Ew.
codfish
Yeah.
and lobster.
Yeah, that's not great.
No.
Well, Sylvain, as always, it's always a pleasure to have you on. I'm kind of not unhappy that you're not producing content for La Presse because I hope somebody that's more conservative picks you up. Now that's what I'm
I've
hoping.
actually received 4 offers now.
Oh, really? Nice, nice.
Yeah, so
Are they
but I
paying
did post-
offers?
Oh, I didn't pursue any of them because I told everyone that I'm pausing for about a month before making any decision. So I'm off to California for some meetings tomorrow. I'm traveling a lot in April, so I'm gonna just do my thing and then come back in May and decide. Yeah,
Nice.
I'll keep you posted.
Yeah, absolutely. Nico, did you say this is Sylvain's 20th time on the show?
No, I was messing around.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say that
I
seems
was
like
just no.
I know it's been a lot, but that sounds like
Whatever he's smoking, it must be good.
It's meth.
I don't smoke. What the hell, man? I'm not a liberal. I don't smoke. What the hell you're talking about? What the hell are you talking about? No, I do smoke sometimes,
Don't you
but
live
it's
close to
mostly
Montreal? Every
because
time I land in Montreal, I can actually smell the cannabis like everywhere.
You smoke cigars, though, don't you?
What's
yeah, every now and then I'm a big fan of
Nico,
cigars, but I do like weed with extremely high content of CBD because I had a lot of surgeries. I have massive arthritis and a lot
For
of my
pain?
yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, just for pain.
I take CBD once in a while for my knees. It work before going for a run. It works. It works really well.
Really? Like just
Yep,
before?
CBD.
Like the day before, or like an hour before?
About an hour before, yeah.
And it's that it works out.
The onset is very quick, so
Wow,
it's
I
great.
didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Interesting.
You should try. There's something else worth trying if you have arthritis. I follow this doctor. I can't remember what his name is, and I finally tried it. But you can take nicotine patches. So what you use to stop smoking, take the patches, cut them out in about 1 or 2 milligram sizes. So literally, the patches are super, super small, and you just stick it where it hurts. So I had reconstructive surgery on my right elbow. For a day that it's hurting, you snap it on it. On my knees, I have massive cartilage problem. I snap them on there, and there's actually a difference. It actually
Really?
like it's not like you're not on cocaine there and all pain is gone. It's just the pain is extremely, extremely diminished. Very interesting stuff.
That is
Yeah.
interesting.
Cool.
Yes.
Well, listen, guys.
Piece of advice.
Yeah. Have a great
Always a pleasure.
trip to California.
Yeah.
We'll
Back
have you
next
back
week,
on when
and
you're back.
you guys take care and continue your great work. It's great to see you
Appreciate it.
guys.
Thank you, sir.
Take care.
Have a good one.
You take
Bye-bye.
care.
There you have it.
The
So
food
it's
professor.
if a guy that I consider very leftist can be not fired because technically he wasn't making money doing it, but can be
That's
let
worse.
go.
They're not even paying you, and they're still letting you go.
That sucks. But
Yeah.
all to say that, imagine the hope that people on the right or even center people have to get sponsored, to get money, to get taxpayers' money, if a guy like him gets let go and he wasn't even paid. Damn.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, like you said, that was institutionalized sort of bias there. Now that said, if you got a nonprofit, it's still worth a shot. It's still worth putting the application in if you think.
Oh, if I could get government money, I would be laughing my ass off and I would be talking about it all the time.
Look at these
Oh,
idiots. Check out these morons. The fuck were they
Nothing
thinking?
like taking money from taxpayers to make fun of the government. I would love it. And I'm gonna try because the nonprofits in place, the show's gonna move under the nonprofit, so we're gonna have a media arm. We'll see what happens, but I will try. I will definitely once everything's going.
I'm sure.
I will definitely try.
I'm sure that they can't be super obvious about it. Everybody knows the biases, but like they still are. They're gonna give some money to some conservative media properties, if only to say, well, look, We also give to conservatives, so we're the shot.
You know, I know it's never going to happen, but I would find it very, very funny
Oh yeah,
if it did.
yeah.
Hold on here.
Well,
I'm
I
not.
mean, the thing is,
No,
that
hold on. Okay, no. Let
that
me take
money's going
this
to get
one though.
spent anyways, right? That money's spent anyways. Look at
El-
it this way: every dollar
Yeah.
here is a dollar that doesn't go to liberal media, but it's getting spent.
Mooching of the taxpayers is not cool, Nico. Hey, bro, I spent decades paying over 50% of my salary because I made a lot of good money before. So don't tell me that getting money that I've put in. Believe me, I've put a lot more money in this fucking system that I taken from it. Believe me that I don't get any money from the government right now. All I'm saying is I would laugh my ass off if it did happen. So don't call me a moocher. I haven't taken government money in decades.
Yeah.
We're getting money for my son because he's young right now. So they give you a bit of money.
It's a child bonus or something like that. Yeah.
Exactly, which anybody with kids will get something. But man, compared the 2 decades that I worked for corporations, half my salary was gone. Even more than half my fucking salary. So yeah, never mooched. Will never mooched. But what would be funny is that the thing is one thing I could guarantee you, if somehow we were able to get money subsidized from the government, because again, like Sylvain was saying, they're not paying the salary of your employees. They're making it tax deductible.
Mm-hmm.
That's a completely different story. Even that I don't think should happen because it ain't fair. You're not seeing people on each side taking it. But, I know, don't worry, man. Elvin, you didn't hurt my feelings, bro. I just think it's funny that I've paid a lot more than I've received. So don't worry, man. Your comments are welcome. You didn't hurt my feelings. I'll be just fine. I'll be just fine. But I agree. It's just there's a lot of people that take advantage of it. But to go back to what I was saying earlier, I don't think anybody should get money from the government for media.
No.
Zero. If it's not fair, if it's people on both sides,
if it's out there, then if you're entitled, if you're eligible for it, because like I said, that money's getting spent anyways, right? They earmark so much, and you're not may as well go to you or go to this show. Sorry, because every dollar that goes to this show or any right leaning show is a dollar that's not going to go to a left leaning show, and when all's said and done, far more money is getting spent on the left wing shows.
I think what I'd be more curious to see is to actually report on the process of how you, because I can tell you, man, we just started a nonprofit and it wasn't that hard. I'm kind of surprised how easy it was to start a nonprofit. And a nonprofit is not a charity. We can't provide charitable receipts, like if they're not tax deductible. Okay. You can take donations, but they're not tax deductible. You need to be a charity. This is more complicated. But just to say, man, starting a nonprofit is not complicated. I can tell you that. It took us a week, maybe. It's taking more time to have the accounts put under the nonprofit, the bank accounts, than it does actually opening up the nonprofit.
Yeah, a few forms.
That might be a problem. I'm just saying that might be a problem for people that do it for the wrong reasons, because there's a lot of money to be made with nonprofits.
Oh fuck yeah! There's scams out there. There's scams out there. There's definitely the scams we had. All right, I think we're gonna put a pin in there now. Excellent show. Always love to have the food professor back. Guys, if you're just tuning in, you want to support the show, please consider becoming a member. You can do that through YouTube for the low price of $2.99 per month. You can also buy us a coffee, which you will see in the QR code in your upper left-hand corner of your screen. And of course, keep coming back. Keep throwing those comments out there. We'd love to see them. Agree with us, disagree with us. We're gonna get to them. And we just want to see them. Don't matter, like I said, if you agree with us or disagree with us, put them out there. We'll get to them. Other than that, folks, have a great evening. We will see you tomorrow night. Peace.
Peace.